Hello, this is Ray Hunter. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm featuring the October 2020 Hero Arts My Monthly Hero Arts kit. And this kit is loaded with Christmas and holiday themed sweetness. There are 10 sentiments in this kit, and there is a die for almost every image in the kit. There is also an embossing ink cube, red embossing powder, white sparkle, and glacier blue embossing powder. This month's kit has a Swedish or Nordic theme and is just loaded with cuteness. I can't wait to get started playing with this kit. Look at what you get in this 6x8 stamp set and all of the dies. Let's go ahead and get started crafting. Card number 1 is a double easel fold card, and I'm using pattern paper from a 6x8 paper pad by BoBunny, Joyful Christmas. I'm starting with 110-pound white cardstock that measures 4 1/4 by 11, and then I score that in half to create my A2 card base. And then I have a 65-pound red or burgundy cardstock that measures 4 by 10 1/4. And I score that at 2 1/2, and then again at 5. Then with my pattern paper, I cut that at 3 3/4 by 5 and 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. And I want to make sure, because my design has a direction, one direction, I want to make sure that I line that up and cut it properly. I will leave the measurements below this video for you. Here I'm affixing my large pattern paper to my burgundy cardstock, and then I'm going to fold that and go ahead and affix my second piece of pattern paper to the burgundy cardstock. Next, I'm going to use my tape runner only on the large 4 by 5 portion of the burgundy cardstock, and then I'm going to go ahead and adhere that to my white card base. Oh, I love this. Just love it. I saw this design on Sharon Armstrong's site. She's a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and did a really good job of explaining how to make this card. I'm using the large ornament stamp from the kit. I'm going to prep my paper for embossing, and then I'm using Cranberry Crush ink from W+9 to stamp my image about 3 times, and and then I'm going to stamp my sentiment using a Ranger olive ink, and I'm going to use 2 of the leaf images from the kit and Momenta gold, metallic gold ink to stamp those. I use clear embossing powder to emboss the image. I also use the dies from the kit to cut the image out, and then from the Burgundy cardstock, I also cut an ornament, and then I affix the image and the ornament together. I just wanted to cover the back of my image because it was white. My ornament die was a little warped, so, or appeared to be a little warped. I don't know what I did to it, but it did not cut the image um, quite the way it should. But I forgave it, moved on, added some green twine to uh, my ornament, and then added some double-sided tape to the back. Now I lined my image up kind of where I wanted to place it on the card so I would know how far down to start adding my double-sided tape. Next, I affixed my ornament to the card front, and I initially thought I wanted my twine to just not have a bow, but did not like that. So ended up taking that off, starting over, and tying a bow with the twine. I used pale gold Nouveau crystal drops to add a little embellishment to the card. And that's it for this card. I love this card design and will be using it a lot more in the future. Now on to card number 2. This is also an A2 card that measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. With this card, I used a Peekaboo drawers frame, A2 frame that came with the September 2019 Hero Arts kit. And I die cut that out of white 65-pound cardstock. Used my craft knife and metal ruler to cut all of the squares out of the white base. Then I die cut it out of green pattern paper. This, I'm still using the same BoBunny paper pad. So this green cardstock, I am going to cut everything out except the frame because I want to frame the top of my card with green. I also cut the Peekaboo Windows frame out of a second piece of pattern paper that will be my top panel, and I did not cut any of the squares out of it. So here I am going to use my green frame to affix to the top of my main pattern paper panel. Here I'm adding glue to the white panel where I cut out all of the squares and trying to be careful to not get glue too close to the edges because I don't want to glue any of my windows shut when I affix the main card panel to this white card panel. And I'm doing this just to add dimension to my card. I lined up my Peekaboo die in my MISTI on top of a white piece of cardstock. I want to place my small stamped images within the windows so that it makes it easier for everything to line up. My white cardstock is already cut to 4.5 by 5.5 so that everything will be in the right position. So I'm just placing lots of the stamped images. I think I used all of the small images from the stamp set here. So I'm lining those all up and then closing the door of my MISTI to pick those stamps up. And then I can, remove my die. I use a combination of red and green dye ink and meet those kind of in the middle to get a blend, just to add some interest and to add traditional colors that match my pattern paper. I prepped my panel for heat embossing my sentiment, and now I'm going to ink that up in embossing ink. Use some of the red embossing powder from the kit and heat emboss that sentiment. Then I use the oval die as well as the oval scallop die, for lack of a better word, from the kit, and cut that out of the green pattern paper and affix that with craft glue. And now I am adding glue to the back of my panel, being careful not to hit any of the open windows. And then I'm going to affix this to my card base. Here I'm determining where I want to place my sentiment, and of course realize that in order to put a sentiment on the front, I am going to need to cover some of my windows. So I am going ahead and gluing those down. And then the small Christmas tree and snowman windows, I decided to go ahead and cut the flap off, and those would just show, just so that as many images as possible are showing on the panel. So I'm going to mount my sentiment, making sure that I don't cover up any of my open windows. I'm using some peel off stickers by Elizabeth Craft. These are glitter gold transparent stickers to add some glitter and sparkle and shine to this card. There are multiple sizes, and I end up using all of the different sizes, trying to put the larger ones on the longer or wider windows and then the smaller ones on the smaller. So I put one on each window, and I figure that then the recipient will know that they can open all of these windows and get a very nice surprise. So now I'm using double-sided tape to affix my panel to my card base to finish off this card. This was so fun to make. Now let's take a look back at both cards I made today using this kit. I had such fun making these cards, and I really love this BoBunny pattern paper pad. Let me know in the comments which card you like best. I'll be back soon with part 2 and cards that I made using this kit. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you like the video, please be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if not already subscribed. Good day, friends.